And we are live coming to you from the dirty southwest of Salem. Just doing a one intro. I'm trying to do stuff on my other screen so I can edit football games. So, not 100% ready for this tonight. Uh, Trying to get some last minute uh, people on. Just didn't work out. Just busy week for me. Life. That's what I was saying Saturday. You got to make some time for yourself. You can't be, all about one thing and trying to move things around, do things. So, um, just going to talk about some card shows. We had the Philly show, which I was in contact with people constantly all weekend at the show. Also had the show here in Concord, which is right outside of Charlotte. It's so close to Charlotte as Concord is where the Charlotte International Raceway is at. So that's how close it is. I would want to say it's a suburb. I'm sure it is considered that. It just didn't feel too suburby where I was at. Felt mighty farm, mighty countryish, to say the least. And I really think it should be moved. It's a good start. They have a good start there. I think it's only like the second show. It was at a smaller place. What's up, Clay? I told you, man. At night, that place is just rocking for those night games. It's just sad how bad they are this year because it's not going to be that way. It's been that way for years because they were good, then they're decent, now they're bad. But Vandy seems better this year than years past as well. My UVA, Virginia looked good yesterday against Stanford. That NC State game, I said it before, is going to come back and haunt us. I wish they stopped talking about the tush push. Just stop it. I talked to my dad today about the tush push. I'm like, I'm watching a Vikings game last week. They tried it twice, and they could not do anything trying to do it. And that's good, Clay. That's good. For a town, that's a town that's in the middle of nowhere. But once you get there, there's a lot of stuff there to do, hang out, eat, good restaurants. It's been a while since I've been there. Been a long while, so I'm sure it's built up even more. And my dad made a good point where like Hurt is just such strong. He's probably the strongest pound for pound player in the league. Definitely strongest quarterback, and he's just got legs that he can move the pile. What's up, Joe? And then they're talking about the players jumping off sides and stuff. My thing is just once teams stop it, they're gonna have to sell out. The problem is you can't get your heavies in on the line. If this was 10 years ago, they wouldn't be able to do this because teams had a bigger player. Defenses are made for speed, shooting the gaps, slanting, trying to make you play into their game. UVA coming to scrimmage Vandy in Nashville in a few weeks. Is that what we call our football team, or you talking about like basketball or something else? Oh, basketball. Okay. I don't know how we're going to be after we lost our coach. Some players left in the portal. I don't think our basketball team. We're going to be going back to where we were before Bennett, and it's going to be sad. I think in basketball. But I really like our football team is a surprise. I did not expect them to be way they are right now. I mean, they should beat William and Mary, but to beat them just undecided, it just wasn't even a game. And they did the same. They made Stanford look like a JV team in the first half. That's crazy to me. So, but we'll see. We'll see what NIL and first cards come out of this weekend, because both Panini and Tops have college. Tops does their now, and Panini does their instants. So, I checked those to see if anybody, a college player, uh, strikes my fancy, or for some reason they do a Virginia player. I'm on it. Um, but it's just neat to see that. I love looking at college uniforms. Uh, I was one that used to buy like the score or the draft product just to get college stuff. But it was affordable then. You could do stuff like that and for fun. You just can't do that anymore. Buying a product for fun, if you're not going to sell any of it, that's an investment in your entertainment right there. That is, I mean, I bought some stuff this year. It was not the smartest move, but I'm having fun opening it. Right, I've been opening up some Star Wars Chrome, and that's been some cool stuff. Uh, Topps Chrome's been pretty good retail. I have not bought any hobby. Will not buy any hobby. And been opening up. I got a lot of AEW and a lot of metal hockey. So just having fun with it. But back to the shows. So this show, it just seems like I've been talking about it more and more. If you're not going in there looking for the big vintage guys, or going in there looking for the big, now players, like for base, the high end one of ones or one of fives or tens, autos, that stuff, your money goes a long way. I took $200. I came home with like $60 or $70, and I bought a bunch of single cards that fit my hobby. Now, this wasn't the greatest one for baseball. Had a lot of wrestling, more auto than I was expecting, more racing stuff. Had the Pokemon side was dead. I don't know what went on over there. It was a lot of tables, and the sports card was really heavy, hard to maneuver in some spots. But the Pokemon side, you could walk around. I walked around just to make sure it was all Pokemon, making sure it was no non-sport stuff. I do like my non-sport stuff, so I was walking around making sure, and then when I went back over to the other side, like I noticed, I know WNBA is not a big card for a lot of people, but for me, WNBA is fun to buy. I noticed a lot of the cards have come down from when I was at the National, but they're still not where I'm just going to buy it for fun. What's up, Hodges? I'm not going to spend $150 on cards that I don't think have. I always talk about it. I'm not really worried about value, but I'm not stupid either. I'm not going to pay $150 and that card be absolutely worthless later, unless it's a Pete Alonso. But it's going to happen because Pete got caught with a bunch of cocaine and strippers and stuff. It's not going to be because the league folded, because the management, or not the league folded, but they just don't know how to promote their league. I think WNBA has a lot of issues, and until they get that straight with management on how they run stuff, and till they get a real TV deal that's not Ion or True TV or something like that, it's gonna, like, the playoffs are on ABC. No Caitlin Clark, so good luck with ratings. So what they wanted was hopefully the Dream, or the Fever, be in there. And they played today. until they're profitable. The whole thing about being profitable, it's they're there you go, Pafalzi. The thing would be the whole thing with sports or anything on TV, battery is the TV license, the TV contract. So with them being on, I think they're happy with being on Ion. I think the owners are happy with the NBA footing the bill, and the owners taking in whatever profits that are being made. Now, when they're telling you they're not making money, that's probably not 100% true. It's probably semantics. That's they don't want to show making money and profitability because then the players can get paid more. I don't find anything wrong with making $100,000 playing a sport a year. I know they have to spend money on a lot more things than I do to stay at the top health that they're at and to have a marketing team and all that, which I find a little crazy. They didn't have that 20 years ago. But they do now. And I've been really dry and coughing and my allergies this weekend, so I got water around me, so you might see me stop. And I think that's the issue there is I think there is a game being played between management and because I think they could get a deal. Maybe not, ESPN, but Fox or with FSN or something like that where they can get a deal or one of the other sports channels. I think they can get ESPN like in the summertime. ESPN gave up baseball and they want it back, but they have time slots that they need to fill in the summer. I think they all do. All the sports channels do. So, getting a WNBA night where they show an East Coast, West Coast doubleheader, it's not so far out of the realm of possibility. Other because I found out I got food. I downloaded Fubo TV for free. I think that's what it's called, Fubo, and it has Ion on it, so I can watch the WNBA games. I know this isn't thrilling for a lot of people, but I'm just using that as a for instance, and that is one thing. I don't think any collector wants their stuff to be worthless. So I still want to be smart with where I spend my money. There was a Cameron Brake Groovy that was a beautiful card. It was a couple $100. I was like, no bueno. I'm out. I didn't see, it wasn't much vintage there. Like it was some, but not what I was looking for. I'm, Roy Campanella. I saw a couple of Roys. I saw a couple of Yogis. I did not see Mickey Cochran at all. There wasn't much pre-war. There was one table with some T206s, but man, I am kind of at the spot now where I feel like I've seen every T206. It's not special. Kind of looking for other stuff. I was talking to Ty last night and some other people. I really like the pictures from pre-war. I like more of the exhibits, like the caramels, the bigger stuff that looks like pictures. You can see more like background, more things that are around. Can we talk about cocaine and hookers some more? I don't know anything about it. I'm just saying, like, I always thought it popped up because me and my friends used to say that Tim Tebow was so clean that you're just waiting for one day that coming across the blotter across the screen that he's getting caught with hookers and blow in a hotel room somewhere because he was just too clean of an athlete that something was going to, like the Michael Irving side of him was going to pop out. If you don't know that reference, then you know what I'm talking about. Uh, so, or the governor of Virginia at one time. So it's that's the type of thing I was talking about. But I was talking to guys at Philly. Seems like it was another great show, uh, great turnout. Uh, Ed had a thing talking about. Well, he sent us a thing talking about one thing about Philly. Philly guys is they buy up local players and they jack the prices up. That's just good business. Do you have the T206 collection book? It's not so interesting to find lesser known guys to buy. Oh, okay, Zach. I have to look into that. I have seen that book. I do not have it, of course, because it's not one of my closer priorities. It's just that I feel like I've seen so many tables of straight T206s, and all I do is I look for catchers. I really look for stuff, a guy in a catcher equipment, or at least glove in a position. I like the closed hand squat, and I'm talking about this book. I'm almost done. Hopefully by next week, I'll do a book report. When the T206 gloves came around, catcher's mitts weren't around very long. The equipment wasn't around very long. So that stuff just amazes me. That's the part of the game that amazes me probably more than the players, is like the equipment they played with, the rules, stadiums, like the actual social part of the game. Uh, what did the newspapers write about them? That stuff is what is intriguing to me. The actual history of the game, more than the history of the players playing, that you can read on the back of some. Well, back then those cards didn't really have stats on them. But that's the stuff that I really like about the history of the game. The history, that's why I like the Ken Burns 10 innings, whatever. Because it's not just about play; it's about the history of the game itself. It's very cool to read through. Shows every card and a small write up on the ball. Yeah, like I said, that's not the only book. I know that book, and I think I've actually had it in my hand before, because I do like those types of things. I have books on cards that gives you listings and all the pictures. I have a Mets one that Eric, those back pages kind of let me know about, and I got one that they had from the ballpark years ago. Of course, I think I got the one Topps big red book that everybody has at their house. I think it was sold at Toys R Us or something like the KB. It has pictures of all the cards from the beginning of Topps to whenever that book was made. It gives you a description. So I like that type of stuff too. Zach, that's something I'll probably have. Now that you said that, I'll probably have that on my list of books to get for my cards and sports. I have a bookshelf that's kind of dual. It's got card stuff and books on sports. I don't know if I do read like biographies on players and that stuff, but to me, the history of the game is what I really, really enjoy. Like how it coincides with society and what was going on in society at the time, and you can see it's a mirror of the people of the time. So you get a good insight on what was going on in our country at that time from reading books like that you wouldn't know that you would get somewhere else. And that's book I'm reading now has a lot of good insight. It's mainly around pre-Civil War baseball, and talks a lot about it. It's very, very, very good. Some places drags a little bit, kind of loses focus. It feels like, but overall, very good book. I think it had to have some filler in it um, to meet the page and wording number. Uh, but man, I wish I was at that Philly show. I seen some good stuff. I really wanted to see some more videos before I talk, but got to watching football. My Cowboys really suck. I don't think we're going to win another game. Now we got the Chiefs about to come on. I was talking to Chris from Missouri. I talked to him yesterday, trying to get him on tonight, but I knew he was a Chiefs fan. I forgot they were playing tonight. I don't know if he's at the game or not, but he said he was having plans for the game tonight. I buy baseball calls there, so I probably won't watch a single game this year. See, I can't do that. I watch baseball. Right now it's hard though because my favorite team's like doing too hot. They're now tied for the last spot, the playoff spot, with 6 games left to play. So every game is going to be hard to watch this week. It's easier for me to watch playoff games with them playing than it is to watch these types of games, especially when they had such a lead and they were in first place in the division. Were they? Battery. I wish my team was already eliminated or clinched because this is tough. I know it's just baseball, but baseball has been such a huge part of my life. It's not just baseball to me. It's I don't live or die by it, and if they don't make the playoffs, it's not the end of the world for me. I get over it very quickly that day, that minute. But still watching a game. I couldn't watch the games this week because they're playing the Nationals. So guess what? It's blacked out for me here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The Nationals are blacked out for me. So I couldn't watch it. They play the Cubs starting tomorrow, so I get to watch those games. Luckily, the Cubs have already clinched their spot, so I'm hoping maybe they'll put their pitchers on a pitch count or something. They'll play their players because they want to keep them sharp, but they're going to want to keep their hopefully their pitchers healthy. So that'll be nice. I might watch playoffs. Just don't have a reading interest these days. So Zach, can you just tell me real quick? You collect baseball, but can you tell me without typing a whole book over there? I don't want you to. Do you just you don't like today's game? I know you didn't watch them during the T206 because that's my question all the time. You collect them. Is it more of a investment? Cards are pretty. I don't understand how that is. And I'm not judging. I like to know why people collect the way they collect anyway. I think that's amazing. I love when people share that stuff. I love to share books and things like that. And it's just like the history part of it. I like to know the history. Did your parents have you collect? Did you collect as a kid? Like Mangini, it's part of your nostalgia of growing up. But it's just tough for me to understand that. And I've had people tell me why. Like you can watch movies and highlights or watch the Ken Burns and see something. Like when me and my dad were talking about each individual team and players a couple of years ago, Mickey Cochran came on my radar, and I started reading on him and all that stuff, and then I went to the Hall of Fame and saw his equipment at the Hall of Fame. It was amazed at being a Hall of Fame catcher and what he did as a catcher wearing that equipment. I know the pitchers didn't pitch as hard, but the balls were still hard. They came off the bat. It's still, it's the tools of ignorance. It's what they nicknamed, and it's amazing. It is amazing. That's why I collect him, because being a Hall of Famer and being that good for that long just is amazing for me. Campanella, sad story. Good. but of a great ball player. Um, played came in at a time where like Jackie wasn't acceptable uh, for a player of his color to play, which is sad. But I got to always tell my man Wesker Griff, it was a different time. Still doesn't make it right. So, and then have car accident and to finish his career. That's just not fair for him to go that route. And then Yogi's Yogi, man. I'm not a Yankees fan. Everybody knows that. I am not a Yankees fan. Do not like the Yankees. But Yogi's Yogi, man. I've collected one Yankee fan. My parents were Braves fans. Sister was the Red Sox during their World Series run. We just lost it. Oh, so you were a baseball fan. So you lost interest. Yeah, I get. Look, I played baseball in high school. Had chances to play to further. Didn't make good decisions. Can you imagine that? A 17-year-old, 18-year-old making bad decisions? Well, guess what? I did. When I knew baseball was no longer a thing for me, I stopped watching. I could not watch. It made me physically ill for a while. And then hanging out with friends, moving in with my best friend, watching baseball was kind of our nightly thing. We didn't have air conditioning in our house, so we pulled the TV on the front porch. We had a couch out there, and we would watch Braves on TBS every night. Even though neither one of us liked the Braves, it was just a baseball game. And then we had ESPN, so we had the Sunday night game and the Saturday afternoon game, so we could watch some other stuff. And, occasional White Sox, who I liked, and Cubs stuff. I collect a lot of early 2000 baseball cards. That's what childhood, not just vintage. Yeah, see, there you go, Zach. So that makes I have a big McGuire PC. Thank you, Zach. That clears things up for me, and it makes me understand what kind of, like a collector you are. And if you told me, oh, I just don't like today's game, blah blah blah, just collect it, that'd have been okay too. There's no wrong way. I just like to understand what goes on in people's minds when they're collecting, how they go about collecting. Why am I wired different than a lot of people? I'm like I've said before, I try to collect everything. When I grew up in the 70s and 80s, we only had Tops, and then we had Tops like Flinger Don Ross. So it was easy just to buy those. And then you had Upper Deck in 89, Score, and I remember when Score came with that different colors and different, when you put the set together, it was purples and reds and all of that. That was cool to me. Those cards are worthless, but that set just brings back a flood of memories. And I never collected sets. My friends never collected sets. That's why when these people sitting there talking about set collecting such a big deal, nobody I knew collected sets. Nobody. You collected the players. We all had checklists, so you wouldn't get a bunch of the same, but you were going after. You're going in the 80s. You're going after the Mattinglys, the Boggs, the Tony Gwynn, Gary Carter, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds later on. There was players you were looking for in those hanger packs and stuff, and not necessarily completing sets. I don't know of anybody now. My mom would buy me a set every Christmas. It just went in the closet. I am one that I like to have my cards out. I like to go through them. I like to touch them. And that's why I like them on display so much. I think many of us are wondering why there are Mets fans. I wonder that too, Battery. As much now, you'd be surprised. I used to, uh, I did used to pull for the Braves just because we used to go to Richmond and watch them so much, especially in their run because we watch them on TBS. Go to Richmond and see them play so much. The tickets were cheap. Food there was good and cheap. Richmond can't wait to see the new stadium next year there. Uh, yeah, I'm a closet set collector. There you go. Uh, I'm collecting more sets now than I ever have in my life. Now, insert sets, I am trying to do a Scooby Doo Master set. That's my thing right now. I'm having so much fun with that. Uh, I do have the AEW base set for metal um, and a Z folio. So, I have a bunch of Z folios that I have insert sets in, like the catcher set that they did in Gypsy Queen one year, uh, hockey sets for goalies. I liked about the masks, stuff like that. So it just opening day. No, it was hockey mascots. I also have one of those. I hear you, Zach. And uh, I, I like the Z folios because it's the small sets that I do. I could never do a 600 card set. I would never want to do a 600 card set. I don't want all those. I don't want them. I don't want the players that I don't give a shit about. I don't even collect. I've told this before. I love the Mets. The only Mets I collect are the base set Mets for Topps flagship. That's it. Top loader binders are solid for better cards. Dave has good videos on his. He's got top loader binders. There was a couple at the show I was at this week. I picked up some keepsake boxes on Amazon that fit my shelves perfectly. They can hold an album and loose slabs. There you go. I'm going to get, when I move, I think I'm going to get 2 cabinets that from IKEA that go in like a home office to put my PC in. And I'm hoping it'll fit, all of that will fit. So that way I can keep my collection out in the open and not having it all a bunch of boxes sitting out in the middle of the living room. Because wherever I move to, I'm going to do the same setup I have now. I'm going to use the living room as my probably my card room / studio for YouTube. I got one chair TV, put that in the dining room area for reading and watching TV. And the spare bedroom will be my video game room. And then my regular bedroom will be, I think that's where I'll probably sleep. And I'll probably have pictures everywhere. Pictures. Because that was a long time ago, Zach. I'm a Mets fan, so we had, we had Strawberry and Gooden and some other players. Was that when Conan got in trouble too? At a 80s, early 90s Mets team. My friends would go, they didn't know whether to slide or do a line. Watching the Chiefs, I wonder how bad they're going to beat the Giants. Well, of course, okay, so they're playing in New York, so unless Chris got on a plane, which he might have, he's probably having a house full. Hope he's having a good time. I forgot he was. I couldn't remember if he was where at Missouri. I couldn't remember if he was Kansas City, and I had a thought he was a Royals / Chiefs fan. I almost was positive on that, and hopefully I'll have him next weekend. We'll talk vintage selling and how he hobbies, man. That's what I want to get into. I want to get more and more people that I haven't talked to. Um, Plus, I want to get behind this whole divide of vintage and modern. I know he collects the modern, but you know, that whole thing to me is stupid, and I don't. We all collect. I don't understand it at all. And if uh, people are talking smack on either side, I like to know who they are because I'll call them out, and I would like to have them on the channel so we can discuss it. Why do you feel like that? I don't understand why you're gonna. A lot of it is I'm gonna be behind a camera. I'm never gonna go to anywhere that these people are gonna be at, so I can say whatever the hell I want to. Uh, but I think a lot of it is. Some of it is just not having an understanding. He almost got there. Is what's his face for Kansas City playing tonight? The wide receiver that was on suspension. Is he playing tonight? So I have him in a league. And I thought it didn't have the suspension by his name, but my teams are hurting. I have lost my way. I used to be very good at fantasy football. And here the last few years, probably about 5 years, I am shit the bed every year. I used to win money, like thousands of dollars every fantasy league year. And we try to win about 1,000 every year. And it just not. Oh, well, one, I'm not playing that much. I'm only in 2 friendly leagues. And Iowa, you couldn't play out there online, so I stopped playing in the online all the time. But is Megan Trainor still on the Kansas City training staff? I don't know. I don't know if that's a joke or you can say I'm terrible at names. Y'all know that. Whatever. I can't even remember the guy that's on my team that's been on suspension for the Chiefs. You want me to know that? I'm lucky. I got Teapot's name so drilled in my head I can't say it wrong. I don't even remember what I was calling it before. But I think most of the we have a November to remember. November is a show in Toronto. I think there's another Philly show in December. We have 2 more big shows down here in Raleigh and Hickory. 2 different promotions. We have 3 pretty big promotions now. 4 pretty big promotions down here. So it's going to be interesting to see. I saw a meme that said Taylor Swift is breaking off the engagement if they go on to 3. I just feel like, well, I can tell you this. Somebody saw Gronk. What was that? A Gronk for $20,000 at that Philly show. Yeah, that's okay. I got you. Is that who that is? Is Megan Trainor? I just thought it was she looked familiar, but I just thought it was a actress that was just familiar to me, playing the Carrie Carpenter, not Carrie, whatever the Carpenter girl name is, role, because I thought that's what was going on. I am so out of like today's music. I don't listen to music anymore. I used to be a big music head. An entire live stream dedicated to card shows, and you haven't brought up strollers once. You know what? If you watched me yesterday, there was 1 stroller there yesterday, but it was so much room at this card show that it didn't matter. Now, it wasn't blocking up there was plenty of people. There was plenty of people blocking up. Uh, there was a guy at a one table station for that I bought most of my wrestling cards from, and I did it just to piss this fucker off. So sat down and spread his fat ass. I call him fat ass because I'm fat too. And the guy had one display case, and this guy was going through and pulling out singles and throwing them all over his display case, so you couldn't see in his display case. I got into the box next to him, and y'all might not be familiar, but Top Chef came out with this crazy expensive wrestling product called Cactus Jack. It's shiny stuff. And I started looking through that, and I was like, how much is this? And the guy goes, $1. If they're not labeled, they're $1. So I was pulling out my favorite wrestlers. As soon as he heard that, he reached in front of me right by my private area and started digging through the box because, he thought I was going to get something before he did. So I started reaching across right in his face and pulling stuff out. I don't put up with that bullshit. And then I started moving his cards to look in the case to see if there was an auto of Kevin Owens. I usually pick up Kevin Owens. I did get a Kevin Owens auto at this show, and I like Bailey and a few other people in today's wrestling. But, that type of shit I don't play with. But there was at the sports stuff, there was people at the good tables. There was a lot of tables that were just a mess. At the back, it was more like a swap meet, flea market type of deal, where it was just nasty boxes thrown out there and just cards, just brown like card. I mean, when I say cards, I mean cardboard, just in shoe boxes, literally. Dime, quarter. It was just worthless. And then you had some people that had stuff set up, where I got my cowboy stuff. Some people are just rude as hell. Yeah, they are. They are, Jeff. There was some guy like the Dallas stuff because he had his stuff labeled. It was easy for me to go through it. I am not a huge football collector. I will go through and look for. I will go through the Dallas stuff and pull out my old boy cowboy stuff on the new cards. Roger Staubach, Randy White. You saw what I had if you looked at yesterday's thing. A lot of people did. My Saturdays usually do pretty well on views. So I can tell you what, Jeff, there wasn't much hockey there. I didn't see much hockey at all. So I'll take my time and look through that. I did pick up the quarterback from Atlanta's rookie card. If I get a chance to pick up some of the rookies for cheap that are not graded. You notice I did not purchase one graded card yesterday. Not one. I did not realize that till after I did my video. I was like, I bought all wall cards, every one of them, and I'm happy. Just fine with me. I don't even know if I bought anything out of a case. I think everything I purchased was that because I went back to get a Pete Alonso auto and it was sold. That's fine. I just took that money, put it in my pocket, picked up some of those. I bought a big stack of wrestling cards for about $20. They gave me a deal off the $1 cards, so they ended up being like 50 cents a card. Hitman would have been happy with me. Hitman would have loved that show. It was if you're willing to sit down and go through slop to find the diamond, there was plenty of that to be done here. I don't know. My time's worth more to me a lot of times. There's some times that I'm willing to do that. I just didn't feel it yesterday. I just did not feel like going through boxes of basketball to get the one baseball card out that was in the a row of basketball. It was just wasn't worth it to me. Once I started seeing a lot of basketball, I just put the stuff down and walk away. That's just me, though. I don't do basketball. I have no idea. There was a guy, 6'7", probably, that everybody took a pic. He was in there shopping. And I don't know if he was a college basketball player. I just heard somebody say he was a basketball player. I don't know who he was. But all the little kids in there that were with their parents were like in awe of whoever this guy was. I meant to look it up. He must play for Duke or UNC. He must play for college basketball, or he might be on UNC Charlotte. We're at the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know. Has preseason started? I don't know. I'm surprised at how many dealers don't bother to sort their cards at all. Some don't even separate by sport. Yeah, that's all I ask. You don't have to separate them. Like, there's that one table where I bought some stuff. He had the stars separated. So, like, in front of the Dallas, he had, like, Tony Dorsett, Emmitt Smith. So I picked up some nice Tony Dorsett stuff. I wish I would have went back and got the Dorsett rookie. I used to have that card. I don't know what I did with it. It might have got stolen from me. I used to have some people that were sticky fingers around me sometimes. So I really want that card. I want a Roger Staubach rookie really bad. I just always take that money when I see one. I'm like, man, I'd rather spend on something else. So how bad do I really want it? It goes through my mind. Do y'all do that? Like, you have like secondary or tertiary stuff that you really like. Like, I love Roger Staubach. I have a Randy White rookie. I have a Too Tall Jones rookie. But like Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, these are guys I grew up with. And I just sit there and I go, do I want to spend that money on that? Or do I want to go buy my 150th Pete Alonso autograph? And I end up going to get the 150th or 50th David Wright autograph or whatever. And I'm happy with that. I'm not sitting here crying over Staubach. Because I know I can get a Roger Staubach. I know I can get the Roger Staubach at any time I want. Or Tony Dorsett. Rookie cards. I just feel like that. And I still want one. I just don't know when I'm going to get one because it just feels like every time it's there, I have the money. It's just the thing of you start weighing it out. Like, do I want to get that or no? I'll look around and you forget about it, or you get home like, oh, I meant to get that Roger Staubach. Oh, I meant to get that Tony Dorsett. Vintage football is awesome. Get a Staubach. I'm getting more and more into 70s Dallas. I'm a Cowboys fan, so again, their history doesn't go back that far. Even though I love vintage football, vintage football has so much character that I think the other sports vintage lacks a little bit. They're so flat. Not much. I just the poses and some of the 50s. Like when I think of a vintage card, a lot of times the team logo is the first thing that pops up in my brain. That's why we're somewhere I was talking about not like the top stuff and not having, was it with Hitman, I think last week or weekend before? And to me, football, I love the logos so much. I don't know why. It must be something from my childhood or something. That's for me. For sure, plenty of cool vintage. I like that. I would never spend the money on it as opposed to something else. The absence of logos turns me off from vintage football. Well, not all vintage. Like the Browns. Browns vintage is awesome. Eagles. Now, when I think of Phillies baseball, that Phillies logo that they had like 1 year on tops was different. Fighting Phils. I like that type of stuff, and I tend, if it wasn't Phillies, I'd probably buy more of that stuff because of that. I really like that stuff. I love seeing the linemen standing there holding their hands, like they're the old school blocking. I went to play. I played 1 year Little League, and then went to JV. First day of practice, I'm out there trying to block people like this, and the coach is like, "Yeah, we don't block like that." So, no, I'm talking about the airbrush helmets. Oh, I got you. Football for the 50s has logos. They're just the old logos. Very cool. Yeah, that's what I love, man. The fighting brownies, it's just that stuff really it's hard for me to say nostalgia because I wasn't alive when that stuff was out. So that stuff hits me the same way as it did when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I didn't really know what I was looking at. It was just cool art, right? It was like looking at a coloring book. Now when I look at it, I just think it's like I miss that type of stuff. That, like today, Tampa Bay was wearing their old Bucks uniforms. Now that was nostalgia. That was Doug Williams. That was some great stuff looking at them play the Jets today. That took me back in a time machine to see highlights of that game. I like that type of shit. And I don't think it's so much as nostalgia, like I said. It's just takes me back. We're all getting older. We want to be younger. How do we get younger? By looking at stuff like that. For just that little bit, we forget that I'm 53 years old and I'm a teenager again. Watching that. That's more what I'm thinking of. Now, however you define that, that's the way I am. With that type of stuff. And, that's a little emo Scott coming out in me, whatever. Hey, you got to have you're going to have all sides of me at every one of these. I don't know who all watched that I don't know how y'all feel about WWE on ESPN. I don't know if they're going to have roller derby next or, dodgeball. I know they already have dodgeball on one of them. I just think it's I think that's almost shameful to have, and I would call it fake because it's predetermined. It's entertainment. They don't even hide it anymore. And they have behind the scenes shows everywhere you go. I like wrestling. I don't like all the behind the scenes stuff. I keep it. Yes, I know it's predetermined and it's fake or whatever. But I like the cloud. I like the unknowing. I like to try to figure out stuff. And then when you just put it all out there, it's kind of, what am I watching it for now? And I watched last night. It was okay. They didn't do anything special because it was on ESPN. That's what I was kind of looking for. It ended up being a couple of good matches, and there was, of course, the women taking over in the night. But they seem to be the best ones right now. But, I watched that. Watched some football yesterday. Great time for sports, man. You got racing coming to its 10th, or it might be already in its 10th race. We had the U.S. Open tennis was not too long ago. You had, we got baseball season, got basketball season, preseason hockey started. I saw they had games on ESPN tonight. So it's exciting time to be a fan of sports. And along with that fandom is our sports cards for a lot of us. That's the way it is for me. I'm really getting excited for hockey season for some reason. I just didn't get into it last year like I usually do. But this year, it just feels like the only thing I did last year was watch every night to see if Ovechkin scored a goal. That's all I was on. Don't speak of the hockeys. One should not encourage it. yeah. In WNBA's in its playoffs, it's either you're happy or you don't care, whatever. You want it over with or whatever. It's there. That they started today. So it's a lot going on. And the football season goes by so fast now. It's especially college season. It's over with before you know it. It's Thanksgiving and it's basically over. So speaking of Thanksgiving, there's a big show down here that weekend. It's every year for wrestling, WrestleCade. So I think this year I'm not going home for Thanksgiving. I'm staying here for that. So if you're in the area that weekend, let me know. And other than that, I'm just probably going to cut out of here a little early tonight. A lot of babbling by myself, doing old school again. I knew that a lot of my friends is kind of busy. School year's getting rolling around Sunday nights. Not good for a lot of people. But I'm glad y'all chose to come see me again. Thank you for all my new subscribers. Up over 700. I'm very appreciative. I got quite a bit there last month or so. So I thank each and one of y'all. And a lot of good feedback and a lot of just feedback, period. Love that I have a hater every pretty much live. That's awesome. And I just love the interaction. That's thumbs up, thumbs down. It doesn't matter. It's an interaction. So I'll take it. I just always enjoy live streams. Scott, thank you. Thank you, Brian. Really am trying to watch more and more videos. I got to get better. Will Eric appear if we say hockey? No, Josh, I think you got to say Eric, or maybe bicycling. I don't know which, but LT in the house tonight. I wonder if he's selling autographs. He was down here selling autographs yesterday. So there you have it. Like I said, stood right next to Kelly for about 30 minutes yesterday. Wasn't a bad 30 minutes. So all in all, good show yesterday. Sounds like Philly show was really good. See, come on now, Josh. You know, yeah, that's right, man. Yeah. And so until next time, like, share, tell a friend. Me and my dad's video will be out tomorrow. Me and him are back for tomorrow. Week left in the season. And we will see ya.